What's going on, ladies and gents? What's happening? Welcome to our Smooth Club podcast, a show where everyday men discuss everyday topics. I'm your guy, Arrington Gavin. Welcome to an exclusive. I get to sit down with a few of my good friends, and we're talking about, really what's being heard of and talked about in every household, on all the news outlets, in every schools, and in every community. And we're talking about just gun violence, the shootings, the recent shootings we just witnessed in Buffalo, New York, the recent shootings we just heard that went on in Texas with 18 kids under the age of 10 losing their lives to gun violence, as well as two teachers. And just wanted to talk with a couple of my friends to hear their thoughts on it. Some of them are gun owners, some of them are parents, and one of them is near the Capitol, where a lot of people are like, okay, what's going on with these politicians, man? What's up? What's the solution? Where's the effort, right? So I'm glad to introduce, of course, my boy, Mr. Ciroc Fox,
Yes,
in the
sir.
building, co-host on of our Smooth Club podcast, host of In Your City. And I have, of course, Mr. Nick Hammond Walter. You remember him from season 3, host of Life Recreated podcast.
Yeah.
And of course, my good friend, Mr. Alec Bowes. Alec is a musician, entrepreneur, and he's also a educator when it comes to politics. He's a political science major, right? Right, Alec?
Yeah.
Awesome. So look, fellas,
Great
how's
description.
everybody? How's everybody doing this weekend? Very excited to have you on. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. So, first and foremost, we've seen what happened in recent news with the shooting in Buffalo. Buffalo was where an 18-year-old white male brutally murdered majority African Americans. The oldest was 86, and for no reason, thinking it was a game. He posted it live, and it was the sad part is, where is the safety for us? Where can people can't even go to the grocery store without fearing their life? And so that was a case that was happening. And then like a few days after that, there was a shooting in Southern California at a church. It was an Asian hate crime that had happened. 1 life lost, 5 injured, and and then we're hearing about a shooting at a school in Uvalde, Texas. 18 students under the age of 10, 10 being the oldest, and 2 teachers lost their lives. Again, an 18-year-old gunman came in there and just shot up the place. And it's truly the sad part is, where people are trying to have questions was how did he get access to these weapons? How did he get access to, if he had these issues, right? Because he was obviously going through something mentally. That's they're bringing that up, but I kind of want to get far.
I feel like that's a cop out. I feel I know he ain't mentally all there, obviously, because of what he did. But for as soon as he gets behind bars, this whole aspect of how was his mental health? Was he going through things? Was he bullied? La 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 la. I don't know, man. I didn't seen a lot of black folks bullied all their life on some of the simplest things, and they ain't never shot up nothing. So
I'm with you on that one, Ciroc. Alec, what do you think? I mean, Alec, Alec, what do you think about that?
No, I'm in 100% agreement. I think sometimes we fall back on the aspect of mental health a lot, and that's not to say that we can't say it's not a factor, but at the same time, there is something to say that there's so many people with mental health issues that do not do this, and mental health people with mental health issues are the least likely to do this type of thing. So it's not like that. I think that's a cop out, and I also think you got to start looking at a lot of the other aspects of the access to those guns, the people who do those types of things. It's really more than just mental health, I think, personally. Although if we really want to have that conversation, let's talk about having more robust mental health programs. I'm not against that, you know what I mean? So it's but I'm with Ciroc, man. I'm still with Ciroc.
Yeah, I agree with y'all on that. I agree with y'all on that too, because I think, obviously it does play a role. You know what I'm saying? And then Arrington, like I'm really big on, just looking at that aspect of mental health, seeing how it plays a role. But it's I don't think it's like it can be used as an excuse, like a sole excuse of why you would go to that extent to do that. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with all you guys, because I'm the first person, and I try not to make it so aggressive, because I do know we all of us have a form of mental health. I'm gonna just be real. Everybody has, whether it's a small form or a large form of mental health. But to off the bat say that this was probably mental health is Sirach nailed it right on the head. A cop out. There is such thing as evil that consists in this world, and the irritating part is that with gun violence happening, and I can just speak on on a local level here in the Hampton Roads area, every incident, every crime that's involved with gun violence, the victim and the suspect, they're getting younger and younger, and that's again where the big question comes: how the hell do they get their hands on these weapons? Now, I'm all for protecting your household. I'm all for having a gun. I don't have one, but I'm all for protecting your household. I do somewhat I'm that person where I don't really not really agree, but I just never understand why people open carry a weapon if they're not officers, if they're not in the military. I just personally don't understand it. What you about to say, Nick?
No, I was saying I carried for a while, and I just think that it's like an energy around it sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, and this is just my opinion on it. Like, from carrying for a while and just being in certain scenarios, it's almost kind of like, in the back of your head, like, if something were to go down, I'd be able to handle myself. You know what I mean? And for me, that's why I kind of stopped carrying, because I just felt like my energy was not coming off correctly. You know what I'm saying? As I'm carrying, because it's almost kind of like you want to entice or have somebody even just try you. You know what I mean? That's how I felt carrying. And so, because when you have that kind of power in your hand, where it's a different, something happens to you mentally when you have a power in your hand to be able to take somebody else's life.
Would you say would you say it's sort of like if you got a hammer, everything looks like a nail type mentality? Like, is
exactly, exactly.
Okay, like,
yeah.
So
of course the rapper in the group will say something like that.
Let's relax.
It was a bar.
Let's just relax. I'm not. I wasn't even trying. But yeah. But like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
I'm sorry.
I didn't mean. Hey, we gotta have some fun here and there, man. We
No. But like, I'm glad that was poetic.
Yeah, it was very wax poetically. There you go.
So I'm like, America, man, we in a funny. Because I'm a gun owner, you know what I mean? I own hella guns. Matter of fact, I probably got too many, to tell you the truth. And I also carry in certain situations. And then I started paying attention. Okay, if I feel like I need to carry in this situation, maybe I don't need to be in this situation.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, if I feel like I need to go to this extent to protect me and my family, I probably shouldn't be around here. Yeah. Now, my house, that's a different story. You know what I mean? My car, my house. That's my own little land. That's Declaration Foxland right there. And if I get an intruder, obviously I have to deal with it with appropriate aggressive behavior. But
yeah, but you're prime military though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think
why I was going to go to it. It's like, it's weird for me not to have a weapon around me now. I'm ashamed to say I'm a little bit institutionalized. I feel different. I feel not complete when a rifle isn't within one arm's reach. It's not necessarily I'm scared. It's not necessarily like I'm looking for a fight. It's like almost leaving your house without socks, but you got your J's on. It just feels weird. You know what I mean?
I do that all the time. I don't think that's weird at all. No. But Sirach, you answered a question I was going to ask. I was going to ask because you said you have more than one gun.
Yeah, I have I think 12, 13.
Okay, so my question, well, for one is why so many? That's one. Two, as far as just naming some of the guns that you have, what is the reason to have
each one?
What is the reason? Yeah, what's the reason for each one?
In protection wise, only 3 guns really matter to me. My actual handgun, my shotgun, and then my AR. So those 3 weapons are actually for self-defense. Who the hell knows? You know what I mean? I have a lot of equipment. I think I have over $500,000 worth of cinematic equipment, either in my office or my home. And then there's people who know where my home is. So it'd be stupid of me not to have some type of security. Because that's an easy lick if I didn't. Hell, back when the day when I was in my gangster days, I would target me. So I robbed the shit out of myself. I would rob the shit out of myself. So with me thinking that, there's other people thinking it, and me saying publicly that I got 15 guns now deters that breed. Oh, never mind. Let me pick somebody else.
Yeah.
We'll check this.
The other weapons, I don't know. It was just became more of I'm a fan of this brand. It's like collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards when you were a kid. You know they weren't going to turn into real monsters to protect you, but for some reason you bought 3,000 of them cards and was flashing them to all your friends. It's just, this is my adult version of that kid in me trying to be a collector.
Yeah. And no, I truly understand that, and I asked it because I was actually listening to a podcast earlier today, and a gentleman was he had a caller that called in and said he owns a AR, and the host is a very aggressive guy. He older cat, probably like in his early mid 70s, and he just asked the guy, why did you want to get that in an aggressive way, and the guy just said just to have one, but to me, would y'all agree that all guns do damage, right? We can all agree like all guns do damage. But again,
all guns can do damage.
It can.
Can.
It's a tool. It's a tool.
What do you mean by can? What do you mean by can?
I mean, the gun is a
there's
tool.
rifles that never been shot. And you know what I mean? I have guns in my house that have never had a bullet ran through it. It's specifically just for the art of what it is. Gun collection, the gun culture is also a sport too. People go to sporting events and flex their skills, and you know what I mean. So those people, I wouldn't say are necessarily the ones that we should be worried about, because if we put up extra gun laws and we put up extra background checks and evals and little aggregate tests that you say like, all right, basic math, or you got common sense, basic history, you are responsible enough to own a gun. Even still, you put all those restrictions up, people will still do it because they love the gun culture. So
that's true.
Those folks we don't have to worry about. It's the one who are blatant, like big signs on their forehead.
Yeah, exactly.
Could not have a weapon in their body. You know what I mean?
How do you that's the thing. How do you sell something like that to a kid, 18, and not think like, yo, what is this kid? Like, I mean, I look at the picture of this kid and I'm like, there's no way I'm giving this kid a gun.
Because Nick and I guess it's just like a little bit of like the small business owner in me. Money's money. A sale's a sale. Well, seriously. And that's a sad part. I mean, a sale's a sale. Especially how much. I mean, shit. How much is a cheap gun go for? About $200, right? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think
ultimately that's what you get down to. It's not even just that gun culture. It's just like it's capitalism. It's like, he's making money over everything. So like the thing about I personally am in favor of certain background checks and things like that, like just because I think it slows down that type of thing. I agree, like there's always going to be somebody who gets through the cracks or something like that, but also at the same time, like part of the reason that doesn't happen isn't because like, oh, that person could get through the cracks, so it's because that's going to keep people from like selling the amount of guns that they sell. Yeah. And so like, when it comes down to selling, when it comes down to the sale, like that's the issue with the regulation. The regulation prevents the sale. And so like that's
in retrospect though, like in California, I lived in California for a little bit. I was stationed in Pendleton. Me and my wife picked up some guns. It was a handgun. It took us almost a full week to get these guns.
Dang, from California?
Yeah, that was California.
Wow.
I loved the gun. It was everything I wanted. I didn't have to change nothing. I didn't have to I know there's rumors saying you got to do all this special stuff to get one, but it was really just you fill out a form, they send it in, they do the little thing or whatever, you come back, pick up your gun. You know what I mean? It's not that difficult. Now, I went to a store in Illinois one day. I saw a gun that I really liked, and it was a cheap, affordable. I said, man, I would really love to do that, get that gun. How can I get it? He's like, just pay for it. I'm like, what? I was like, but I'm not a resident of this area. I don't live in Illinois. He's like, why the hell did that
matter? It shouldn't be funny, but that's crazy.
But seriously though,
I gave him the money. He gave me the gun, and I left out. That's too easy. That's too easy.
Yeah. And that's like, that's what's great. Like I'm personally not a gun owner. It's clear that y'all have been gun owners, and so like it's very interesting to hear these perspectives. Like it's like because like I've been into like Virginia. Like it's not that hard to get a gun in Virginia. Like like at the same time, it's like that's not something I'm going for. Like just because it's not something that interests me personally. So like. I like to hear this is very interesting just in terms of like gun owners being gun owners and like seeing what y'all think is appropriate because I actually wouldn't know necessarily the right steps to correct this. Like when you
like it is scary easy. Like these niggas don't know me from Sam Hell. Like they don't know me. They'll give you a box of bullets. Here go the gun. You need some extra magazines.
And you think that's not right? You think that's like
I think that's crazy.
Ciroc, you saying that is like that's where I feel when I like, for example, just I'm in the grocery store and someone's carrying a gun. Like literally, that's my mindset. I'm like, it's a thin line between sane and insane. I don't know if this person's having a bad day. I don't know if I accidentally run, the car on the back of his heel and he turn around and go Rambo on me. I'm just saying, you never. I'm serious. You never know. And like in the state of Georgia, the current governor he wrote a bill or a law basically. Oh God, what was it? It was no need for permits for like carrying permits. So you really could just have the freedom to. And to me, I'm like. Okay,
so
dude,
that means no permit means you don't know if he has priors when he bought this weapon. You don't know if he has violent acts. You don't know nothing about that person who purchased and is now carrying this gun.
Mm-hmm.
No,
and then
no red.
And then the worst part too is the fact that if you do have, say, a African American who has this permit, who is an educator when it comes to guns, and he possibly has one, you're making him a liable target as far as getting pulled over by cops. I'm just saying, let's be real. You have unarmed black men getting shot. So what? I mean, they had freedom to carry a gun. Oh,
that's another reason I kind of stopped carrying too, because I was scared of that. I was scared to get pulled over carrying, and how does that go down?
Seriously.
How does that play out?
Yeah. And that's I guess and that's another fear for me. If I mean, again, I don't plan on ever really opening carry one. I plan on having one in my household, but I don't plan on carrying it out in the open. If I gotta go to Lowe's, I don't think I need to suit up to get some flower pots or anything, but I'm just saying I'll go to Dollar Tree and I'll see someone holding their piece, or I go to the grocery store, someone's holding their piece. I go to Walmart, someone's holding their piece. And I spoke with one of my good friends who's a police officer, and I asked him personally, like, what's your thoughts on just random citizens carrying their gun. Now his perspective, he said, at the end of the day, if somebody goes in to rob a store, they're gonna already look at who is their as far as threat. Who do they have to take down first in order to
threat? Yeah,
their biggest threat. That's right, their biggest threat. So now they put themselves already out in the ocean as a threat. Now I spoke to another friend of mine who's not an officer, but he had a different perspective. He said if the place was getting robbed, I would stand behind that person because I would feel more safe because they have a weapon on, which he did have a point. But at the end of the day, I mean, you don't know if that person is smart in using that. Right. Maybe the killer might be
to that response because of the simple fact of it's trained cops who don't know what the fuck to do in a firefight. So you mean to tell me these random civilians is gonna turn into superheroes and know what to do with their piece? No.
But they might not. But here's the thing, though. I think they
that
might
is so
not.
good. I didn't think about that.
So, but here's the other side of the coin, though, too. I think that they may not know like exactly what to do, but I think just if somebody were to come into a place and they're getting shot back at, that changes the whole scenario. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
true.
like
That's true.
it changes the whole scenario, because a lot of times, like say for instance in this situation, because after this recent Texas shooting, I read an article where they were having people that were volunteering to stand security at these elementary schools. So you know what I mean? Like a guy was vested up, had an AR. And so it's like, okay, if you walk into a place and you open fire and somebody's shooting back at you, you're gonna be like, all right, maybe this wasn't the right idea, right? This like I might have to back out of this. You know what I mean? But a lot of times when you walk into these situations, nobody can fire back. So I would kind of, even if somebody wasn't trained, the fact that somebody else is letting off a couple other shots and scaring this person, because that's what usually happens.
Yeah.
That I'd feel a little bit more comfortable in that situation. That's just me.
That's true. That's true. We think, Alex.
Well, that's interesting because I'm of the mindset I don't even think fucking cops should really have that many guns, to be honest with y'all. Like, I mean, because like fuck, like
I don't know.
I get. I get. Like,
hey, I just had a friend of mine get shot recently.
Like, I mean, like I've had, like, like I've had people get shot too, and it's not even so much like. It's the fact that the force of the law, like, I feel like the fact that power is already there, like the fact that having a gun behind that actively can harm the community, like that's
so
just my
saying
thought
every
process.
police response doesn't need a weapon on
That's
site.
mainly it. It's not necessarily that cops overall shouldn't have guns, or there shouldn't be like firearms with like, and I'm not even saying with that in the community. Like, I'm not even saying like, I mean, obviously y'all are responsible firearm owners. Like, I couldn't sit here and make a case to say, oh, y'all shouldn't have a gun. That's not how I see it. But like the fact that like there's so much force behind that response, like, and like I said, sort of that's that sort of, when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail type of thing. That applies to the police as well. So like I hate to bring it back to that poetry aspect, but like, that's just sort of what I'm thinking in terms of that. Like, but
no, you making sense. You making perfect sense. What you about to say, Nick?
Because other countries operate like that too, though. Other countries have their police officers aren't armed a lot of times. Like if you go over to Europe,
isn't like England or like
a lot of
I'm
them,
pretty sure
they're
their
not
officers
armed.
are not.
The Bobbies.
You said where?
Talking about the Bobbies.
Yeah, hey, that's it. But yeah, so some of them guys, they're not armed. I mean, they might have like an asp or something like that, but they're not like, they don't have a firearm. So how are they doing it? You know what I mean? Like, how are they doing it and still? And I'm sure if we were to compare those numbers, maybe a lot of the, there's probably not that many killings or, you know what I mean, accidental shootings like it is over here.
And they're still allowed to own certain types of guns, certain types of shotguns, certain types of, birdie, sport rifles. They still allowed to own certain guns. It's hell getting them. But if you really want one, you're going to go through the hell to get it. So,
yeah.
Do y'all ever have like the thought, like, okay, for there, I feel like we live in a world where everybody wants to feel like a king, feel like a Rambo, want to be Rambo. And that goes in, that can go in law enforcement, that can just go in, people that, own weapons. So when some of the people that I see carrying guns like in the public, I'm like, you're 5'5", you got a big Ford pickup, big, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, I'm seeing like, okay, you want to feel dominant, you want to feel empowered, you already feel the power behind that weapon. So you already,
Nick was talking about that energy, right? Like,
yeah, that energy is it's an ego thing, man. The ego,
it is, and I was listening to a conversation, and they, we're just saying what is the most popular thing really in America? It's guns first, and then after, but they had guns at the top because, like you said, the gun culture. I remember I was watching like a gun expo on like the hunting channel out in Las Vegas. You talking about what? These guys was, talking about their top of the line weapons, man, opening the safe and this and that. I'm like, it was crazy because in my mind, I'm like, I never knew so much. I mean, of course, I knew the handguns, the rifles, the this and that as far as like when it goes to hunting. Because I've been to the range many times and I enjoy skeet shooting, I enjoy all that stuff. But when I like realized how much heavy artillery, I'm like, I didn't see anybody that looked like, okay, maybe he's coming from the FBI, or maybe he's coming from this military, maybe he's coming. They were just regular people, regular everyday people. So in my mind, I'm like, is this a kind of, I start thinking of like what's that movie? Paranormal Activity? No, that's not it. What's the one with what's the one? Not paranormal. What's the one where people every time at midnight they basically have there's no laws. There's no laws you can do.
Oh, the Purge.
The Purge.
The Purge. Confused. Paranormal Activity.
And
it was a Pete. There's something that started with a Pete. There's something that started with a Pete. It was a Pete. I thought, what? It was something that started with a P. The Purge. I start really second guessing, thinking like,
I'm gonna let this time slide. But the next one, this your only pass. The next one,
I shouldn't have brought on a comedian on. Damn it, I should not have brought a comedian on.
Shots fired.
I messed up on that one. But no, I started thinking of stuff like that. I'm like, man, that could literally go down. I mean, just because we never know. We never know when it comes to the world we live in, man. But look, I want to have everybody's just thoughts when they first heard about, the I'll just speak on one, the grocery store, that happened in Buffalo, New York, that shooting. What was your first reaction when you first heard about that? Whoever wants to start off first.
I want to hear from y'all first, just because like I'm not a gun owner, so I want to be able to hear from the gun owner's perspective, and then like I guess because we were all probably disgusted, like there wasn't nobody probably was like this was supposed to happen or something like that. Like
I'll try to be fast. I try my best to speed through it. So the scar on my face, right? I got when I was jumping on the bed with this brother of mine who happens to be a big guy. And that trampoline effect, when you land right at the same time as a fat person, you go flying. I went flying and I hit my head pretty hard on the corner of a TV. That's the slash is going up and down. It's two different incidents, but the slash going up and down, that's how I got that mark. And I learned that, all right, don't jump on bouncy things with fat people. Don't do it. It's just a bad thing. I'm small. My weight don't balance out right. I go flying. I get hurt. Don't do it, right? America hasn't learned that lesson on if I bounce and play with this fat kid, I'm going to get hurt. If I touch this stove, I'm going to get burned. Like they haven't learned yet. If I breathe underwater, I'm going to fucking die. Like America is the only people who can keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. And then when it comes to our leaders, they give that same old BS saying guns is the problem. You know what I mean? At this point in time, it's time that we learn our lesson. The stove is hot. Water's wet. Fat kids see you flying. Let's do something different. You know what I mean? At this point, goddamn. I'm done.
hey. And award goes to that was I mean, that was the best. I never heard that. That was really good.
I feel bad. I'm sorry if any of the chunky fellas out there. Alec, you kind of thick. I'm sorry.
Damn.
I don't got no hate towards big people.
Damn. Oh, you hit my heart. You hit me hard. Like he saw a fat dude in the actual crowd of this discussion and called him out. God damn.
And said the name too. He said the name. You know, he could have just said there's a fat person in this group. I'm not gonna say their name. He flat out said the name.
Like, it wasn't even like I was in the audience. He was just like,
let's go to Nick's take. Let's go.
What was my take on it? Dang. Man. All right.
This is more laughing in this conversation than I really expected. I just want to let you know that, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching or listening, please, we're not laughing at we're just having. Come on. Jesus Christ. Yeah. My bad, Nick. What you about to say, boss?
No, I was so what was the question? The question was, what was my response to Buffalo?
What was your response? Your response, your reaction when you first heard about that shooting that happened?
I mean, when a lot of times my thinking a lot on these situations is that the signs are a lot of times they're there already. You know what I mean? Like people don't just, for the most part, man, people ain't just snapping like that. Like there's a lot of times, because I was just reading an article about it with the guy in Buffalo for 5 months. This dude had been planning this thing out, documenting it, writing it, going to the actual grocery store. And so the signs a lot of times are there. My main concern is how do we start helping to recognize those signs before people kind of take it this far? You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's a lot of the issue. I think a lot of this stuff can be prevented if we're paying attention more to what the heck is going on. You know what I mean? Like if I have an 18-year-old kid and nobody's checking on him, nobody's talking to him, nobody. So like in my mind, I'm like, okay, so nobody this kid knew recognized like, yo, this dude's kind of off right now, and he's talking kind of crazy. Like maybe we should ask some more questions. You know what I mean? So,
well, it almost leads to like when of course when they interview the parents, I really can't remember if they did or not with his parents, but you know when they interview them and they say, well, we never would have saw this happening, we never would occur. And at some points, it's like, look, I'm no parent, I wouldn't know the situation that you have, but you always, every household, you know your child, you know when something's off, you know, hey, boom, that door been closed for a minute. What's he? I mean, it's just you can. He's 18 years old, so I understand when you give an adult their freedom, but still, there's certain things that you need to like just be aware of instead of just saying I had no idea at all. But like you said, plan for what, 3 months, 5 months,
5 months, 5 months, 5 months. And I'm not saying that it's like, it's not a guarantee that if you could pick up on those signs, you're going to stop a lot of this. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is that, let's kind of be a little bit more aware of like how people are around us, like what's going, you know what I mean? Like asking more questions, kind of reaching out and seeing like, hey, how, why are you acting a certain way? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's the way I kind of feel on it, man.
Alec, what about you?
I mean, my first thought honestly didn't go to guns immediately. My first thought kind of went to the fact that the dude had nigga written on his rifle, like, and seeing all the like the fact that it was a racist attack. I actually hadn't even thought about restrict like where my mind normally goes is like, why does this keep happening in the United States? My thought is, why is there but like why? How are we not recognizing this racism issue that we have in the country? And I don't know. And I guess I say that as somebody who doesn't know how to solve these issues. I'm saying this is like whether it's a gun issue, whether it's a racism issue, I think it's both. But at the same time, like how to stop that, like that's why I like look for other people's like consultation on that, because again, there's just so many different ways I think you can do it. But like honestly, when 100%, part of the reason why I get so like ambiguous on like gun regulation is that I know it's always going to be applied to Black people first. And so like it's like that's why, like, even though I would like to see a lot of these things implemented, but I know that it's going to impact just like Black people trying to defend themselves from potentially their racist white neighbors, and so that's just going to make things worse. And I don't want that.
The worst part, as far as just to speak on like the race in America, the hard part is you got multiple. Okay, you got, say, the Republican side, the Democratic side. Most of the Republican side are going to say, why does it always have to be about race? The Democrat side is going to be like, it's always about race. Then you have news platforms that are going to cater to their base, and they're going to say, why does it always have to be race? So you constantly have these two sides going at each other, when the public is saying, well, that is true. Why does it always have to be about race? And then you have people that are really trying to say, look, we're just trying to educate you so you wouldn't have to, have issues in the future. And that's where the whole race thing is really never going to. And then of course you just have people
I thought that two-party system was the dumbest thing I've ever heard of since I learned about what legislation was. Like, since I learned about the government,
it's horrific.
I thought, why the hell is it only two groups of people controlling everything? I thought that was the dumbest thing that you
still
can
the dumbest
possibly
thing.
imagine.
It was something it was something that George Washington warned about. Like George Washington specifically said, "Don't fall into a two-party system." What the fuck did we do? What the fuck did we do? I was just like, what?
But again, that's what's gonna help. That's what's gonna continue the division in the country, because again, there's multiple sides. There's gonna be a side that's gonna think they're the right side, and then there's gonna be one side that think they're right, and it's just back and forth. Where and a lot of people are gonna be keeping their pockets aligned. That's a whole nother conversation. The fact where excuse me, parents are questioning and they want answers with some of these politicians about certain laws or bills or acts being followed through. But you have I was reading something. You have like the NRA is one of like the Republican Party's biggest donors. Like Ted Cruz alone out in from where's Ted Cruz at, in Texas, senator in Texas. Yeah. He has had well over 700 grand donated from the NRA to his campaign. Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump alone has had 30 million, maybe over that, donate to his campaign. A lot of they did a list of all the politicians that has had money catered to their campaign. So of course they don't want to lose that paper.
Arrington, I don't want you to be talking about my favorite senator, Ted Cruz. Now, like I can't have.
Oh, hush up. I mean, I'm just saying, it's like again, it goes back to the whole money over morals. And now that there's lives being lost, it's like, okay, really, what's happening? What's going on?
I mean, but think about it though. Like you said, it goes back to the money over the morals, right? I mean, if we really be honest about the way that a lot of these companies, their mindset and what they're trying to achieve, I mean, and I don't want it to sound harsh like that, but I mean, they're looking at, okay, we could potentially lose out on millions.
Yep.
As opposed to 20 lives or something like that. They're not looking, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't affect them until it hits home, and it's something that's like, dang, this is like in my backyard.
The way things, I mean, statistically, one day it's going to happen to them. Like it's going to happen. Like the way things are going, some type of gun violent incident is going to happen to all of us.
Yeah.
It may not be as extreme as what we see on the news. It may not be as like, oh my God, world stopping, but you're going to have some type of incident. Lord bless you if it's not something, crazy. If it is just a little, somebody let off a couple shots and you ran away. If it is just you got somebody hit off a drive-by, didn't hit nothing, but you experienced a drive-by. Mm-hmm. Those gun incidents is going to happen to at least every individual in America. Now, if when it happens to them, if it's large enough, they might fold on this whole NRA taking money. They might flex a little differently if it goes to that extreme to say what happened to these little kids. Yeah. But chances are it won't. Chances are it'll be something small. Somebody let off a pop shot and then they forget about it a couple days later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, America's the world capital of, if it doesn't happen to me, it doesn't matter. Like, it's like, if it don't happen to me, like, why should I care? Like, why should I, like, I'm good. Like, I'm like, so I mean, unfortunately, like Ciroc is right, man. Like, until it happens to a certain number of people, like maybe something happens, but like, we gotta turn into like, like a suburban war zone, like for that to happen, like do we have to like go through daily shootings, like on a rate? Do we have to do this daily? I don't know. Like, that's like, I don't know what it's going to take.
You got to make the stove hotter. That's what it is.
You got to touch. It's not hot enough. Like, oh, that was like, all right, let me try it again. Let me just make sure. Like,
So last question, fellas, before I close it up, man. What is the solution? They've brought up, solutions as far as maybe they should bring in more security to schools. Maybe they should arm the teachers. Maybe they should do regular school shooter drills. Shooting drills in schools rather than have their, hey, if there's a storm happening, you need to do this. What do you think, fellas, are gonna be like solutions in order to solve this issue? Alec, I'm gonna start. Actually, I'm gonna start with you on this one.
But
Oh, we about. Oh,
well, at least let's say like one thing is not to try to have this thing where like Republicans are talking about one door in and out of the school, as if like there aren't fire, like as if a fire could never happen in these things. Like I don't know. I think like I honestly don't have as many solutions as I used to have. Like for example, like when I said like I remember I used to think like banning AR-15s might be a thing that would be possible, but like I also think that at the same time that's not going to stop the proportionate amount of gun violence in this country. Do I think that would stop more mass shootings? Probably, but like again, I still think there's been plenty of mass shootings without those guns. And so ultimately, like I don't have a good answer. I don't have like I always think, we can like have certain expanded background checks, maybe that, puts a band-aid on the problem, which is better than not putting any sort of aid on the problem, like to be fair. So it's like that's one thing, but there's like I think Ciroc said it best. We got to do something. We've been doing this for too long. We've been touching the stove for too long for this to be happening, and it's just it's frustrating. It's frustrating for me personally, because I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but I actually we have like people have had that experience with gun violence in their lives, and it's really difficult to separate that from this issue. It's not just like it is a rights issue. It is a do we want to be able to take this out of the hands of responsible gun owners thing? But we also have to remember how many people have been impacted by this? How many people have been devastated by this? So I think that's just something important to keep in mind as we continue to have this conversation.
True.
That's good. Are we gonna say Ciroc?
Oh, me, okay.
I'm sorry.
I could go.
I'm never scared. At the risk of sounding stupid, which I know I'm a genius, so I never really common sense gun laws, obvious. That's obvious, but I think there need to be a reallocation of fund towards healthcare, specifically speaking, mental health. America needs to understand that its people is crazy. Its people is hurting. We're unhealthy. We're dumb. As a unit, I get it. We got some smart motherfuckers out there sprinkled amongst the crowd. I get that we got leaders. I get that we got world changers. I get that we got artists that can do astronomical things. I know myself can move mountains with my own comedy as art. But as a people of the United States, we are sick. Health care, health services, mental health services. This shit should be free because we're hurt. Once we get our mentality and our health and our happiness as a whole, percentage wise, these numbers sound stupid, but I feel like only 15-20% of us are happy. Like this is just out of my ass, but damn, when you look at all the different avenues of media, you would feel like, damn, it's a lot of miserable people out here. I can go to my Facebook feed right now and I can see at least 12 different baby daddy posts that they can't stand. I can see 12 different I hate my job posts. I can see 12 different why nobody love me, and then the motherfucker get 100 likes. It's like America's sick and we're ignoring our health. And if you want to get better, then you have to be damn near the top 1% in people who make money to afford it. A therapist costs a ridiculous amount of money. If you get shot in your leg, you might go bankrupt. If you get cancer, your life is basically over financially unless you were already popping. You know what I mean? If we fix our healthcare, if we fix our mentality as a whole in America, if we fix the happiness state, if we make our people more happy, then less motherfuckers will be inclined to be like, my life miserable, I'm taking everybody else with me. You know what I mean? My life is horrible, I'm gonna do this death by mass shooting. This is suicide by mass shooting. Some of these people just want to go out in a blaze of glory. Some of these people don't want to, jerk off and hang themselves in the hotel room. Some of them want to get their kick by going out in a gunfight and take as many people out with them. These people are sick. America, fix us, fix our mentality, fix our health. I promise you we'll be good.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, what do you gotta say after that? I'm just saying.
I think he hit the nail.
Rock should have been a preacher. I don't know if he would have kept it clean on stage, but Rock could be a preacher, y'all. He's gonna be one of them real. He's gonna be one of them real pastors. He's gonna be one of them real pastors, cussing on the stage and stuff. I go to your church. I go to your church as long as you don't give as many collection places. Too many collections.
That's it. No, I think he hit the nail right on the head. I'm a big advocate of mental health, especially lately. Just learning about it and learning how to address it, learning how to heal. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if y'all have listened to this latest Kendrick Lamar album. I know he had a lot of stuff on there that I was just like, I'm telling you, and he's addressing a lot of like mental health issues, especially in our community. That yeah, so I think addressing the mental health, and then another thing too, I remember when we were in the military going to Israel, and in Israel, everybody that turns 18 has to go to the military for like a year or something like that. It's some kind of setup where they have to go for like a certain amount of time. I think that might be something that we probably need to implement here. You know what I mean? Because like we were talking about just being prior military, a lot of times you're trained like, okay, this is a tool, like this is how you use it, this is how you, a lot of these things that are happening, these dudes don't like, they're 18, they're buying guns, they ain't never really handled it, or you know what I mean, understood the concept of what this tool can do. And so I think I know it'd be a lot to implement that, but I've seen it in other countries where people are coming out of it and they're already trained. Like there's a different mindset. It's like, okay, this is a tool, it can hurt somebody, let me learn how to use it the right way, and that in the mental health I think could really, really do it. So
I did want to address just one thing Ciroc said, just like even the mountain movers and the smartest people still need that mental health, like even those people aren't like, like even
I got therapist. I'm addicted to sex. I got to talk it out. Yeah.
I mean, but I mean, still, like, I mean, seriously, you just need like everybody, no matter what, like we all have something that's going on, and like even the best of us, like need that help. So I'm just, that's what I won't say nothing else, but I just wanted to leave on that.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, again, I truly appreciate y'all, just making the time out y'all busy schedule to talk with your boy, especially talking on this subject that definitely needs to have a conversation amongst all of us. I believe it was very informative. I learned a lot, and I want to continue to have conversations like these on a regular with you all. And again, I truly appreciate it. Ladies and gents, I hope y'all enjoyed this R Smooth Club exclusive. Again, host Mr. Ciroc Fox, my bad. Mr. Ciroc Fox, host of In Your City and co-host of the new season 4 of our Smooth Club podcast. We're excited to bring him on, stand-up comedian, TV producer, and host again, Mr. Rock Fox. Mr. Nick Howman Walters, host of Life Recreated podcast, and then my good friend Mr. Alec Bowes. Please, fellas, Ciroc, where can everybody follow and support you, man?
Follow me on Instagram, The Real, spelt normal, SYROK, Ciroc, The Real Ciroc. You can also visit www.foxhillstudios.com and see what services that you see on there that can help you in your own personal endeavors. I'm always down to work and create something new as far as digital media, and you can use me as that lightning rod to do so. In the words of the great Kanye, I told you who I thought I was, a god.
Nick, what about you, boss man?
Yeah, you can find me on just YouTube, Life Recreated 360. Spotify for the podcast and stuff like that, and that's where I'm mainly at every Thursday, doing some different things, talking about some different things on it. So that's where you can find me at.
Awesome, Alec, Mr. Bowles. What about you, boss?
Yeah, and y'all can just follow me on all platforms at fake news, fake spelled the regular way _NUZE, because I'm pretentious.
I'm
and
gonna follow y'all. Hold up.
I would love for this. I would love for Ciroc to follow me, man. Like I need that recognition. I need that. But please, yeah. Like if they want to follow me, yeah, I make music and do some other fun stuff, storytelling stuff on that front. So yeah, much love to y'all.
Well, fellas, look, y'all stay safe. Again, y'all just finished watching a great episode of our Smooth Club podcast, the show where everyday men discuss everyday topics. Again, ways y'all can support the show by going on wherever you listen to podcast platforms, iHeart, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher. Hey, please subscribe, follow our Smooth Club podcast. Follow us on our YouTube channel, Rugged Evo TV, as well as the Global Vision Network on Roku. We truly appreciate. Hey, y'all stay blessed. Be easy. Tune in next time.